following presentation is brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network. Welcome to the Northern Nerdcast, the podcast that showcases the geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events in and around the city of Edmonton. Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Visit their website at albertapodcastnetwork.com. If you like the show, we invite you to share it on all of your social media platforms and help grow our community of geeky, nerdy people, groups, and events in and around the city of Edmonton. Would you like to be a contributor to the show? For more information, visit our website at northernnerdnetwork.com. And now, here's the host of the show, Dan Chelsea.
All right, so welcome back, one and all, to another edition of the Nerdcast. My name is Dan Chelsea, and of course, this is the Nerdcast, which is the greatest show in all the universe, right? No,
Yay!
no. Oh, we got to work on that. All right. Well, of course, on today's episode of the Nerdcast, we have none other than the greatest co-hostess of in the world, in all the podcasting universe.
I tell you, man, you're gonna make my head just like one of these days. It will physically explode on air.
I'm waiting for that moment to happen. I really am. And also joining us on today's episode of the Nerdcast, we have Katie from the Metro Cinema joining us tonight.
Hello. Yeah.
All right, so I am super excited for tonight and super excited to find out a little bit more about the Metro Cinema, which is, I have to admit, one of my favorite places in all of Edmonton.
I'm so glad.
But before we get into that, we like to really get down to the heart and soul of each and every one of our guests that come on the show by asking them, what is on your nerd shelf or geek shelf? So Katie, what is on your geek shelf?
Right now on my geek shelf is something I've recently purchased, and I've been telling everybody I know about it because I'm so excited, is I've recently bought a set of like 3D shaped planters that are shaped like dinosaurs, and each of the dinosaurs has a little plant sticking out of their back. And I cleared off my entire shelf so that they could just be there because it's the best thing I've bought. It's like the store knew me and targeted me with this product and then put it on sale, and I couldn't avoid it. Like there was no chance I wasn't going to buy that. It's like
got them on sale and everything.
Yeah, everything. It was cheap. I saw them for the first time and they were on sale, and I could not buy them. I've got a T-Rex and a Brontosaurus and a Triceratops, and each of them has a succulent sticking out of their back. It's like they knew me. They knew me ahead of time.
That's like nerdy planets aligning.
I know, right? It's like Jurassic Park on my mantle. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now I need to ask you, where did you find this?
Safeway.
Safeway?
Of all places. I would never have thought. And I literally, it was targeted perfectly towards me, and I couldn't say no. And I thought it was a stupid purchase, like one of those things. It's like, I shouldn't be spending this money on this. Maybe I'll just get one. And I bought one of each instead. So it was just the perfect storm of product for me. So
that's just unfair. I mean,
and
really.
When there's a whole set to be had, you can't.
There was a whole set.
Stop at one.
I was really wishing there were more variety of dinosaurs. Like I went back a couple more times and checked to see if they had another variety of dinosaur, but
like the raptor or something.
Yeah, or like a Stegosaurus. I thought would be a great addition.
That would have been.
Yeah. I feel like the Stegosaurus would have made it. Yeah. Yeah, it would have just completed it.
Internet and find out if there are any more.
And actually talk to the actual manufacturer and say, hey,
by the way, could you make just me, one single Stegosaurus?
Yeah, just one. And how did they end up in the floral department of Safeway right next to those automatic doors? Yeah. How could that be? Yeah. Yeah. I showed it to so many people. It's so they took succulents, which I love as a plant, and they put it in a dinosaur. did they think I wasn't going to buy it? Like, they knew me.
This is,
It was
like I said, it's
a
just
secret
unfair.
reality show was like filming me buying those dinosaurs. Yeah. It's out there somewhere. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
that's my current favorite thing. Yeah.
that's
Dinosaur
that's
planters.
amazing. Now
Yeah.
I gotta go to Safeway after the
Yeah.
show here and see if I can find me some dinosaurs with
Find
succulents.
Oh, trust me,
Dinosaurs.
I've checked several locations. They're not there anymore.
Oh.
They're just not there now. It was just a few weeks back, and they're none of them anywhere. Yeah.
Well, clearly that just goes to show the awesomeness of the product, and you are not the only
serendipity. Yeah.
dinosaur fanatic out there.
Yeah.
Dinosaur/succulent fanatic out there.
I'm definitely not regretting having bought one of each, because I would have gone back the next day and been angry. Yeah.
All right, so that sounds absolutely amazing. Chelsea,
Yeah.
how was it? Like, you've been gone for so long.
Yeah, it's been
Like
it's been a couple weeks. I mean, the show in general was gone for a week because it was Calgary Expo.
Yes.
And so I believe you guys got to go and take some fun pictures and wander around and whatnot, and footage of the gathering of the costumed wonders was had. And I saw all those posts. It looked like a lot of fun.
It was.
And then the following week, I was away again because I was on set shooting another student film. A couple of ladies at one of the film schools in town who I worked with before on another student project back in January were working, had posted for their final project. And so I got in touch with them and they were like, yeah, totally, come in and read for us. Working with you is awesome. So I went in and read for them and they were like, we don't even know why we bothered to have you audition. We're just, yeah. So they're a great group of ladies. There's 3 or 4 of them that I've worked with before, and they were all working together again. And so we had a lot of fun. We were shooting over 4 days, so that was lots of fun. And now I'm back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited you're back.
Yeah.
We had Trina on the show last week, and she is an amazing producer. I love her so much, but she is no Chelsea Thompson in the chair there. I have to admit.
Well, I like to think it's because I'm awkwardly charming. And your wife is just so much more awesome than I am. Plus, her organizational skills put both of us to shame, which is why she wears the producer pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she does such an amazing job at it.
Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't have any of the amazing people that we talk to if it weren't for her. It would just be you and I. And I mean, for a while, we've had shows like that. And people don't want to hear that. People want to hear our awesome guests. So we're so glad that Trina does what she does.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're glad to have you back here, Chelsea. I'm super happy.
Yeah. But how has your couple of weeks been? I mean, aside from like gross traveling and being away from home for work, which is what it is, the trials of being a grown-up and having small children to feed and a mortgage to pay. But how was the expo?
The expo was lovely. We did talk a lot about it last week, so I don't want to get into too much detail this week. But it was a good time. We got to spend a lot of it with some of the various cosplayers, like you said, and so it was awesome. I had such a great time there.
Well, then, how has your most recent week been?
My most recent week was also very good because I did come home for the weekend here. So I got to spend a lot of time here at the house, which, by the way, is Mother's Day today. I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. You are absolutely amazing. My wife being one of those mothers, she is also a very amazing woman. I did go to my mom's house today to go say hi, drop some flowers off for her, spend some time over there because my wife took off to go see Stars on Ice here in Edmonton.
Nice.
So she got to watch Tessa and Virtue.
Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer.
Scott Moyer, that whole like thing. So she got to, and Elvis Stoico apparently was there. So she was super excited about that.
Sweet.
So anyways, so she loved it. She thought
Was
it
that her Mother's Day present?
Yeah. The best part was I didn't go with her and I took the kids. So
That is well done, sir. That
Yes.
is an excellent Mother's Day present.
she went with her sister and her mother. And that was the way that one went.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I had my kids. I took mine to my mom's house and we spent some time over there today. I also managed, like, I know Nintendo has their Labo out for a little while now, but we did pick that up. And have you heard of this Labo?
No, I haven't.
No, what it is, it's, hang on 2 seconds as I try to reach back here on my table. I built a couple things here. So people on the podcast, who are listening to this, I'm sure you know what Labo is. If you don't, go look it up.
Head to the Google Oracle. It will tell you all.
Yes. So we finally got Labo. We've been wanting to get Labo for the boys for a little while now. So basically, they're just a bunch of cardboard toys that you put and you play with your Nintendo Switch. So you put, like, I got a little cardboard house in front of me at the moment. And you put your screen in the front here, and then you can put all sorts of different, like, cardboard pieces inside the house, and it does various things. Like, this is a little crank thing. I don't know exactly what it does. This one, I know, like, this little switch, you can pop it into the side of the house and it, like, fills this, like, little creature is on the screen here, and it fills the house up with water and all sorts of crazy things. There's 3 holes that you can plug stuff into this little cardboard house. And the cardboard, I thought you would break it pretty quickly. But it seems
Pretty sturdy. It's holding
pretty
up
sturdy
to
stuff.
and small children.
Yeah. And they've been playing with it, like, for hours and hours and hours. This one here is really neat. And it's like a fishing rod. And so you put your Nintendo Switch into this thing here, and it gives you a picture of all the fish. And then you'll see your string on the screen, and you can, like, move it back and forth, and you can reel in. It's really cool. Like, it's I'm super impressed by this whole, like, thing. And, like, I'm surprised at how well it's made. I know it's just a bunch of cardboard, but my goodness, it gave us a lot of fun just to kind of sit down as I'm building the cardboard pieces for all the different things. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, there's an RC car that can kind of drive on its own and do all sorts of weird things. Like, it just uses the vibration of the little controllers to move back and forth. It's really cool. It's so fun for the kids to kind of sit around, and they're, like, on top of me while we're trying to build all these, like, cardboard creations. And the Nintendo will actually kind of go through step by step on what you need to do and which kind of pieces that you need to build. It is really super neat. So I don't know if you have kids, I recommend it so far. It seems to be a lot of fun. They love this house. Like, because all the various combinations that you can do with the different switches and knobby things. There's another plunger thingy that can kind of go on the bottom or the side. They all kind of fit in whatever slot you want to put them in, and they all do different things. So they love this house with the little creature inside. It's great. So yeah, that's kind of the neat thing that we got going on here.
Nice. That sounds like a fun week.
It was a fun week. Like I said, I've been out of town for the most of it, but I did manage to come home for the weekend here. So I got to spend some time with, the family, and got to spend all that kind of stuff. Did you guys do anything special for Mother's Day at all?
Katie, did you have anything on the docket for today?
I went over to my parents' house. My mom and I like gardening.
Nice.
So yesterday we bought a lot of plants. Today we had dinner. We looked at the plants again. We look at the plants a lot. Today she had planted a lot of hers. I've not done any of mine yet, but mostly we're like trying to even just like sit outside for as long as we possibly can while the weather's nice. So yeah.
Lovely.
How about you?
Well, I was just going to ask, how about the rest of your week leading up to Mother's Day?
Oh, I've had quite a busy week. At Metro Cinema, we have some summer students, so they're all still pretty new and they're getting used to things and getting trained, and we're really excited to have them with us all summer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's been the busy week, is new summer students learning new things.
Is that through like the Government of Canada Summer Jobs Initiative?
Yeah, we have some
Awesome.
summer jobs grants and also some Alberta STEP student grants.
Very cool.
It's great.
Yeah, my Mother's Day was pretty low key. The show is rooted in Edmonton, and I am from Edmonton, and have hosted the show whilst living in Edmonton. But as our regular listeners and viewers will attest, I currently live in Vancouver and call in to do the show. So my mom lives far away, so I sent her some messages first thing this morning when I woke up, and I sent some messages. I have 3 grandmas who live back in the city, and I sent out some messages earlier today to the good friends in my life who are all mamas, to my sister, who is the mother to my awesome nephew, and I have a couple of really good girlfriends, including Trina, Dan's wife, who are moms, who I sent Mother's Day wishes to as well. So
for all the mamas.
Yeah, all the mamas that I know, because they're all awesome. This is their day. So yeah. So it was pretty low key, lots of messages sent on my part. Want to make sure that I don't forget anybody. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys going to take a quick little bit of a break here, and then we'll get into some more about the Metro Cinema right after this.
Excellent.
For sure.
Hit us with some knowledge, Dan.
All right, so this edition of the Northern Nerdcast is brought to you by Yes Painting. Yes Painting is a new kind of painting company, one that has changed them and molded the traditional student painting model by training and employing Edmonton's youth experiencing difficult realities. Yes Painting provides high-quality interior and exterior residential painting with the added benefit of supporting youth empowerment and support services, or Yes. They donate 50% of their annual profits directly to Yes so that they can guarantee the work they are doing to direct impact not only on the youth who work with us, but also the countless others who receive support from Yes in some way. In 2017, Yes empowered 650 youths and are dedicated to seeing that number grow in years to come. By choosing Yes Painting, you can help us make that goal a reality. So head on over to yespainting.com for more information about Yes Painting and the amazing painting that they do.
Excellent. That's good to know, especially with the summer season coming up. If you are in need of painting services, you can totally check them out.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, no, that, and it's such a great cause too, right? So I mean, definitely go and check that out. So on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we do have Katie joining us tonight with the Metro Cinema. And so first off, we kind of like to figure out kind of for people who are unfamiliar with the Metro Cinema, which is crazy. But
a lot of people feel that way still. Yeah. That's a lot of what I work toward.
Let's get the rundown of what the Metro Cinema really is.
Yeah. So Metro Cinema, we're a not-for-profit film society. So we are a film society with independent film. We've been around for little over 40 years, and we operate out of the Garneau Theatre, which is a historic theater on 109th Street in Edmonton. So we screen all kinds of movies. We screen independent film and sort of lesser known new releases. We screen films that we think kind of deserve a little extra time on screen compared to what they get in the major cinemas. We screen cult films and old films and weird films and a lot of things that don't otherwise get screen time.
That's amazing. There's so many times where you just kind of go to the theater, like, and it's in every other theater, right? And the Metro really doesn't do that, do they?
Yeah, that's not really at all what we do. We do things sort of either after the fact, like occasionally a film will only be screened for a week in a major cinema, and people still really want to see it, and maybe they thought they had more time, so we'll screen those things. We also do a lot of special events. We screen things that are by local filmmakers that they, again, otherwise wouldn't be able to show their film on a big screen in a way that's affordable to them and practical to the kind of film they're making. We also screen, we rent our theater to other people so that organizations and community organizations and cultural organizations can screen a film that's relevant to them that maybe as Metro Cinema we wouldn't have thought of as something that the community was really interested in viewing on the big screen. So we have all these opportunities where we can partner with organizations and cultural groups and businesses, local businesses, to bring film to the screen.
So what kind of examples can you give us of some of the things that have been on your screen recently in the last little bit here?
Sure. So some things that might be relevant to the nerd audience. A couple times a year we do the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and everybody likes that because it's such an interactive experience that you can't really get at other cinemas. Not too long ago, we did My Friend Dahmer, which is actually based off the comic book series that is based off Jeffrey Dahmer, who was a serial killer. So, there's a comic book sort of about the making of, how someone could end up that way. And then a film was made based on the comic book. And that was a really popular event for us. Like, people are really eager to see that kind of content. And we were able to show that. We show quite a bit of anime, especially compared to other cinemas. Again, it's a really popular thing for us. People really like to be able to see anime in that sort of large scale on the big screen format. And we do quite a bit of that at Metro.
So what kind of things are you particularly interested in when it comes up on the screen at the Metro?
Yeah, I really like documentaries. Like, I like to see things. I like to see the truth, I suppose. What other things do I like? I like dinosaurs. Already mentioned that. I'm happy to see, again, like classics I remember from my childhood, things like Jurassic Park and those sort of things, to give them sort of like a new way to view them now as an adult is something you don't get an opportunity to do in other places. Like, the things you remember from your childhood don't usually get another chance to be on the big screen, and we offer that at Metro, and that's really what excites me. Like, that sort of nostalgia sort of feeling is it's really a special thing, I think, to be able to see those when maybe you didn't think you could see them again after you were 10 years old or 5 years old or 15 years old, or if it was the 90s or the 80s or some other time in history and you get another chance. It's really a special feeling, I think, to get those opportunities.
So, speaking of childhood and nostalgia, has film always been a big part of your life since you were little?
Yeah. I think that film wasn't very important to my parents. Like, it wasn't really something they saw as art. They'd watch the news and they might watch award shows and whatever was on TV, but it wasn't a super important thing. That's sort of something I found out later in my life. Like once you start to be of the age where you can go out independently with your friends and go to the movies, I think especially as a teenager, a movie theater is a place where you can always go. Like before you can go to bars, before you can go to any other sort of place where adults go, the movie theater is open to you. And I think that's kind of a really important thing. Like it's like a coming of age. Like there's this sort of form of entertainment you can experience as a teenager without having parental supervision and without needing all that. And you can kind of choose your own adventure, I suppose, with movie theaters. And I think that's still something that exists in a way that most things have changed, but with teenagers, you can still go to a movie theater, and that's a place where they have content for you, and it's a safe place for you to hang out without parental supervision. You can just go with your friends. You know, maybe you get picked up and dropped off. Maybe you have a car and someone drives you there, or that kind of thing. And I don't know. I still think there's a little bit of magic to that as like something teenagers can do alone.
So
safely.
Can you talk then a bit about the trajectory of how sort of discovering the magic of film in your youth led you down the path to eventually one day working for Metro Cinema?
Oh yeah. I don't even quite know how it came to that point. For me, I sort of discovered Metro Cinema because I really like to watch short films. I like to be able to see short films on the big screen, and often there's, you know, sort of a package available of short films. And I think that's sort of why I came into Metro is it was a place where you could watch short films. And they show them, and, you know, sometimes as a part of a film festival, sometimes not, but I would always really like to be able to watch a whole package of short films in the cinema. And that led me to start volunteering for Metro Cinema because we're a nonprofit. So we have volunteers who help us in our front of house. And I did that for a few years before I got my job working at Metro. And I think back to it once in a while, and I really do think it's short films that brought me there. Like to be able to see them in the large format, I think is really special. Like it's so much different than seeing everything on YouTube or on a DVD. Yeah, it's more special that way.
So in your history of consuming film, maybe they are films that Metro has screened at some point or other, or maybe they aren't. Maybe they were bigger, more commercial movies that you saw in your earlier years going to the movie theater, discovering your love of film. Are there movies as a whole, or even just like scenes or like single lines or single like frames or images of movies that just stick in your mind as like moments that are for you the pinnacle of why you love movies, that just like you think of them and immediately you're like, oh yeah, that scene or that movie or that line or that shot, the way it was shot, ones that just make you go, oh.
Oh, that's a hard question. I've always struggled with like, what's your favorite? Because I have a really hard time picking a favorite. Like,
well, I was going to say, it's like
so
children.
Meaningful. Yeah. Like for children, I feel like it's easier. You've had so many less experiences that it's easier to pick your favorite.
I'm happy to take a list. I won't make you choose a single favorite because I agree when it comes to movies, there's just so many good ones.
It's too hard. I was talking to some people the other day about, you know, what's the first movie you ever saw in the theater, because I feel like that really does resonate with people. And we were people from, you know, slightly different generations. And mine that came up is the first movie I can remember seeing in a theater was The Little Mermaid. So that one's always really resonated with me, and like, you know, the songs and sort of the Disney of it. Like it's very, very Disney.
That's kind of funny because I mean, I I remember doing the exact same thing. Like, I think one of the first memories I ever, and I'm pretty sure I've seen other movies in the theater before this, but the one that I always
The one
remember
you
and I can kind of go
remember.
back to
Yeah.
was The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I have
We
a
must be
similar
close
memory.
to the same age.
I have a similar memory about Aladdin, only because we went around. It came out around Christmas time, and I remember going with all my cousins, and I think that's why it
I
sticks
remember
out.
Aladdin too. Yeah. Yeah, some of the people I was talking with, like one person said The Goonies was their movie they remember from the
Mhm.
theater. Another person said Babe, the movie about the pig.
Yeah.
And I think that's really something that sticks with you. Like that first movie you remember seeing, like maybe you went to a matinee just with your mom, or maybe it was a birthday party, you know, with all your cousins or all your school friends or something like that. And I think that that sticks with most people. Like whether or not you still think the movie was good or you don't feel that way anymore, there's sort of like that feeling of like the first time you can remember being in a movie theater. And I think that we encounter that sometimes at Metro is these days a lot of young children don't go to the movie theater because there are so many other ways, I think, to watch movies than going to the theater, that sometimes we'll have like a high school or a junior high or a elementary school come in and they do like a field trip to watch a movie during the day, and a lot of the young people will say that I've never been to a movie theater before. Um, and we're really happy that our version is the way they get to see it, right? Like it's a little more proper. Like it's what a movie theater should be, in our old theater and our, you know, red floral carpets and our, you know, our curtained cinema. It's kind of like a more magical way to see a movie for the first time. So as many times as we can do that, I hope that we do.
And the Metro really is like, I know if you haven't been or you're not familiar with like the Garneau, it's really quite the cinema. Like the whole place is quite the place, right?
It's just a great building.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful, like authentic vintage cinema, and we're really lucky to be able to occupy this space. But at the same time, like if you're going to see a movie for the first time, like what better way to see it, right?
I mean, truly,
Like,
there is
yeah.
quite the magical place to go see a movie, really.
Yeah.
I know I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of other things there as well.
Mhm.
You guys have a stage as well?
Yeah. So the way the cinema was built, I think it was approximately 1940. I don't remember right now. Close to the 40s. And it was meant sort of as a multi-purpose space at the time. Like it does have a stage in front of the screen, and it's got that sort of space to it. So we can do a bit of live theater. We can
It's a lovely fringe venue for our
it can be a fringe
theater nerdy listeners out there. I've seen a couple of fringe shows at the Garneau.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are a fringe venue during the fringe because really you can't compete with the fringe. There's so much going on in the area. Why would you try? Can't beat them, join them. So we're a fringe venue. And also it kind of gives us that opportunity to do, you know, if somebody wants to talk prior to a film, it is really a suitable space for that. So sometimes we have a film studies professor or someone who's an expert in you know, what the film is about or other things like that. People who are interested in film studies, those kind of things. We really have the opportunity for that. Yeah.
The theater itself can be rented out for special events. I had a friend who got married there in November.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We host weddings once in a while.
Yeah.
We've hosted just some of the nerdiest weddings I've ever seen. Again, really wonderful.
That would have been Jamie and Jordan's wedding. Jamie and Jordan are huge nerds, and that was the theme of their wedding. So, yeah.
Certainly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've had some staff members who've used our venue for their wedding, and you know, people from the general public, people who know that it's a nerdy venue, people who just sort of like the general look of it. Yeah, we do. We've got weddings available. Yeah, it's really like the variety of things we can do. Like we've got a little bit of lobby space we can use. We have a little bit of stage. We have the screen. Again, a lot of places you might rent don't have the screen and projector options that we do. Yeah.
So now I want to pick your brain a little bit about the history of this society. So you mentioned earlier
Sure.
in the interview that a Metro Cinema Society has been around for 40 years, which is a pretty impressive timeline for a not-for-profit to be up and running, which speaks to me of the great love of film that exists in the city, which is awesome. But can you talk a little bit about the history and how the society got started, what intrepid souls got together and decided, they wanted to make this happen, and how it's grown and changed, and some of the, how it's progressed over the years, and some of the new initiatives that have come out in the last little while, and anything new or exciting that, the society is kind of percolating to happen in the future?
Sure. I mean, I don't know a ton about the early years of the organization. I've worked for Metro Cinema for about 3 years. And I was a volunteer prior to that, and I know a little bit about the transition. So prior to our existence in the Garneau Theatre, we were in the Ziedler Theatre at the Citadel. So sort of the difference between the two spaces is in the Ziedler, it was part of the Citadel. So it was kind of an occupied space every day of the week, whether or not we were in there. And I believe other organizations occasionally used the theater for other projects. So I think back then we would have screened films, I think about 4 days a week. Whereas since our move to the Garneau, we screen films 7 days a week, almost every day of the year. We close for a week or so in the summer so we can do a little bit of renovating without people around and without dust getting in the way of the projectors and those kind of things. We close on Christmas Day so our staff can go home for one day. And I know there was a time as well before the Ziedler that there was a theater in Canada Place, and at some point Metro Cinema occupied that space and screened films out of there. We've really got kind of a variety of people who have been staff and board members in the past, a lot of people who are still around kind of in Edmonton, people who are filmmakers or interested in film, people who work in the arts, really great people who've helped us all through our past. Again, I'm not the most knowledgeable about the early years, but I really do like the sort of the way we've ended up is now we're in like a beautiful historic theater, and it's quite a bit larger than anywhere else Metro Cinema has been. At the Garneau, we have 500 seats, which is quite big for any cinema, actually. And that really changes the type of things that we can do. We don't fill all those seats every day, but when we do, it's really full in there. For things like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or we do a cartoon and cereal party a few times a year.
Saturday morning cartoons is
Yes.
always a big one.
Yes, and that's a big one. A lot of people like to come to that and wear their pajamas and eat from our cereal buffet. And that's another time where it's really good that we can have such a large theater, because that would be a really hard event to do in maybe a theater that only had 150 seats or something like that. Like a lot of the places that we've occupied in the past. And I think that's a really fun thing we're able to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything up and coming that you're like really excited about that you can share without spoiler? I don't know if spoilers are a thing that you have to worry about, or any events or screenings or movies that you've got set on the docket that you're really excited about.
Yeah, honestly, in the film realm, things tend to be booked with usually fairly short notice. So as soon as we're able to book it, we're happy to talk about it. But we do have the Rocky Horror Picture Show coming up. So it's our spring edition. That's on May 19th. So that's May long weekend. And there still are tickets available. Sometimes that event sells out, but this time we've still got some tickets. So if you wanted to get dressed up and come down and join the costume contest, that's still an option for this year. We've got a series coming up. It'll sort of span May, June, July. Right now, we've just got sort of the May and June screenings announced, and the series is called Japanese Masters. So it's a series of films from sort of the 50s and 60s in Japanese cinema. And although it's,
cool.
yeah, I think it's going to be really great. I'm really excited for it. So there'll be films like Late Spring, Tokyo Story, An Autumn Afternoon. There's one Tokyo Olympiad about the Olympics that happened in Tokyo in the 60s. Yeah, and we'll have probably some Kurosawa films announced in time for July. Those ones aren't quite out yet, but there definitely should be some Kurosawa films. On June 2nd, we're having a Napoleon Dynamite movie party. So this is meant to be more of like a casual, like a movie party is meant to be more of a casual event where, you know, it's okay to sort of say your favorite lines during the film. We'll have some props and some food specials and drink specials and things like that to go with it. We're hoping we might have some dance choreography instruction coming from the stage, which I think is going to be really fun.
I have a few friends who are big fans of Napoleon Dynamite. I think this.
Always love that movie. Yeah. I think there'll be some choreography going on for sure at that one. I'm excited. In early June, we're going to have Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Nice.
Yes, some solid sci-fi, solid classic sci-fi. And we're going to be screening both the 1956 version as well as the 1978 version. So you can see the 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers on June 3rd. And then you can also see the 1978 version on June 5th. If you wanted to compare notes, you know, see a couple of classics from different eras. Yeah, I think there's a lot coming up that's worth being excited about. Yeah, and then towards the end of June, we'll close for a week to, you know, spruce the place up a little bit. Take a little breather.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick little break. But before we do that, I would like to ask you, where can people find you, either on the web, in real life, that whole thing?
Yeah. So online, we're at metrocinema.org. And we've just had a new website put in. So it's nice and easy to use and searchable and all that kind of stuff that everybody's always wanted. Again, at metrocinema.org. We're also in the Garneau Theater, so anytime that our box office is open, usually in the evenings and on the weekend, you can pop by, and our box office staff are happy to help you figure out what's coming up, or you could pick up one of our paper program guides. So we're at 8712 109th Street in the Garneau Theater. If you get close, you can't miss it. We're pretty obvious once you're nearby. Yeah.
Awesome.
I have, before you go to breakdown, I have one final question. Getting all of this great contact information has sort of tweaked my. Do you take programming requests? If people reach out to you and are like, I really wish I could see blank on the big screen.
Yes, definitely. You can let us know your suggestions, and we are super happy to receive them. However, we receive more requests than we could ever possibly program. So again, they all get considered, but a lot of the time we can't program them just for space and time, and film availability is a big thing. Like to have the screening rights for public screening.
Copy.
Yes. And to be able to legally present it, right, is a thing that we have to follow, that, you know, you sitting at home, not going to say anything. How you get your content is up to you, but it's important to us that it's legally presented. So that can be an issue. We also have once a year, and the deadline has just passed, although feel free to apply at any time, is we do have a guest curators program. So something like the Japanese Master Series was one of those that was selected from our guest curatorial program. So if you have an idea for a series or a festival or a small, even a one-night screening of something, you could apply to present it yourself. And we would take it on and support you and help you kind of bring something to an audience that wants to see it. Because that's really what we're part of as a nonprofit, is bringing the community access to our cinema. And that's how we do it. So something like the Japanese Masters was something that was curated. Someone had this idea that they wanted to see Japanese films from that era. I believe it was Emily Collins, in this case, is the name of the curator. And that's something we sort of seek out once a year. And we're really happy to have people's ideas. We've had so many amazing ideas through that program.
Awesome.
Yeah. Lots of suggestions. Please tell us what you want to see. And honestly, the more people that tell us they want to see a thing, the harder we will try and get it. If it's an option at all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to take a quick little break. That sounds amazing. And we will get right back to some of the events that are happening in and around the city of Edmonton. Okay, so like I said before, the Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV. And if you guys go on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com, you will find just a growing list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts for you guys to check out. And there are so many here. Like every time I turn around, they are adding some more and more podcasts. And if you guys have any suggestions on podcasts that you'd like to see added to the network, or you have a podcast of your own, please feel free to join us as well by sending all your information over to the Alberta Podcast Network. And you guys can go and check that out by going to albertapodcastnetwork.com. And there you'll find all the stuff that you need to do that. I'd also like to make mention of the CKUA app as well. We are also on that app. But not only that, everybody on our network is now on that app. So if you go and download the CKUA app, you will find all the Alberta-made podcasts right there in one nice little package. It's great. So go on over to that and check that out. And that is the albertapodcastnetwork.com and the CKUA app. Man, that was perfect timing right there. I tell you, it's
right,
almost like
music.
I meant to do it that way.
It's like you know what you're doing.
Almost.
Except we really don't.
That's
That's
a
a light
clue.
red with us on the show. That it's like this is fly by the seat of your pants podcasting.
We've been doing this for 4 years, or I don't even know how long we've been doing it for, and I
Bunch
still
of
have no
years.
idea what I'm doing, honestly.
You've got that fancy looking microphone. It
I
looks
know
like you
it-
know what you're doing. Yeah.
It does. Again, it's all just a show.
Smoking here at the
that's for
Northern
looks.
Nerdcast, we're all about smoke and mirrors.
All right, so we do have a bunch of events that are coming up in the region here that I'd like to draw everyone's attention to, and one would be on May 18th, and we have the DPX or Direct Play Expo happening on the May 18th, and this is happening at 8426 Gateway Boulevard Northwest. And if you guys are a fan of video games, board games, all that kind of stuff, and kind of just wanting to know what it makes to create and all that kind of stuff, this is the place to be in Edmonton. It is absolutely going to be a fantastic time. So check that out. And that is the DPX Direct Play Expo happening here in Edmonton. Moving along to May 19th. And this is, I think it's Saturday, isn't it? Yeah, Saturday. The Yeg D&D is doing their Secret of the Song Temple. And this is happening at the Grindstone Theater. So if you like D&D, you like the little improv, all the fun stuff that kind of goes along with that, this is something definitely you should go and check out. It's always a great time. And this is, again, happening May 19th at 7 to 8 at the Grindstone Theater. Moving along into June, we have the Collector Con happening one more time. Also, it's always happening. But, you know, you're always looking for that special something to get to add to your collection. This is happening at the Italian Cultural Center, and it's happening on June 10th from 10 o'clock to 4. So make sure you head on over to that and go check that out. Moving along, we have June 15th. We have Pure Spec is happening again, and what a fantastic event this has always been. We are super supportive of Pure Spec and whatever they're doing. I believe we do have one of the guests coming up here right away on the show. I think I can't tell you exactly which, if it's next week or the week after. I don't know, but they are coming on, so stay tuned for that. But this is happening at the Alberta Avenue Community Center on June 15th and 16th. So make sure you guys stick around for that. All right, and that is all the events that I have lined up for us today. I want to thank Katie today so much for joining us. You've been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Such a great organization. I think this is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on and talking to us all about the awesome things that Metro does for the city.
I love talking about Metro. Just love everything that happens. Yeah. It's easy to talk about.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Yeah. And also I want to thank Chelsea for coming on the show as well, because she's awesome.
Woo! Thanks, Dan. Well, thanks for hosting. I mean, if you didn't start this crazy venture in the first place, I wouldn't have my awesome job as your co-host. So thanks.
That's awesome. All right. So I want to also thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this edition of the Nerdcast. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Northern Nerdcast. Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Check out their website at albertapodcastnetwork.com. For all things geeky and nerdy, including all of our social media platforms, go to northernnerdnetwork.com. Thanks again, and we appreciate your support.